There we go. Awesome. Okay. Here we go. Let's get started. So first of all, I want to give you a quick journey as to, why I'm here today, why you're here today, and why I'm in a position to talk about Facebook ads and lead magnets. And the journey goes back to 2015, where I started a social media agency called Fresh Crowd in Oakville, Ontario, Canada, and we generated a lot of business relatively quickly. It was just myself doing everything in the business, from the content creation to the social media management to the sales. And I was basically, running thin in terms of the amount of time I had to do all those tasks that a social media company CEO had to do. So I ended up hiring a very capable team underneath me to do a lot of those tasks. So I was able to focus on driving the business, and we were able to generate over 300 clients in just under a couple of years. And in 2019, I merged that company with a company called Casio, based in Milton, Ontario, Canada. Casio is and was a web design and SEO firm. And we had very similar teams, just my team was focused on the creative side of digital marketing, whereas Todd's team, my business partner, was focused more on the technical side of digital marketing, the SEO and Google ads and such. So it made sense for us to merge our companies because we both kind of covered off on each other's weaknesses. And from there, we put both of our teams under one roof and moved to Guelph, Ontario. We're actually situated right across the street from the University of Guelph, which has been just great in terms of scouting and recruiting talent. They have a very good journalism and English program at the University of Guelph. So we've been able to hire a lot of those graduates and teach them to do SEO copywriting, which is much different than your journalism copywriting. And so they've been great, and being so close to a university, it's been helpful because they like to stay in the same town they went to school in as well. So that's been great. And in 2021, we actually worked with one of our clients to acquire a very large publication called Canadian Real Estate Wealth, which is geared towards investors throughout Canada. And a part of that as well was Real Estate Professional magazine, which is geared towards real estate agents. So we manage and run those publications from the digital side. Their copywriters are here in-house in our office here in Guelph. In 2022, I had the pleasure of speaking at AdWorld Conference, which is great. Got to speak with the likes of, or share a virtual stage with the likes of Seth Godin and amongst other reputable names in the marketing industry. And also spoke at the B2B Marketing Profs. If any of you are familiar, it's a very popular B2B marketing community. I was able to speak at that as well, which has been great. So from there, here we are today. We're now winning awards, an award-winning agency, has won multiple Reader's Choice Awards amongst others. And we're serving B2B businesses across North America with their social media marketing, management, SEO, and Google advertising. Anybody know who that guy is? I'm sure you do. That right there is Mark Zuckerberg. Not sure exactly what he's doing aside from maybe wakeboarding, but wearing a whole ton of sunscreen on his face. But that's kind of who we're talking about here today. And the reason why we're talking about Mark Zuckerberg is because we're talking about these numbers, which is the daily active users at 1.96 billion and the monthly active users at 2.94 billion. And these are the results as of Q1 2022. There is even still, amongst everything that's happened in the last couple of years, there's still an increase in the user base on Facebook. And that's why we're talking about Facebook today, is because the attention is on Facebook. 2 years from now, 3 years from now, we could be having the same discussion about TikTok. But so long as Facebook is and Instagram, when I talk about Facebook, I mean Facebook, Instagram, it's all under the Meta umbrella. We're going to be talking about that because it has the most attention. Now, the facts. Older adults are the fastest growing demographic of all Facebook users. A study found that a significant 70% of internet users in the 65 plus age group visit Facebook every day. It makes total sense. Their grandkids are on it. Well, some of their grandkids are on it. Their kids are on it, and they're sharing their memories. They're sharing their stories. They're sharing content. And it's interesting because you need to think about the mindset of a user that is in that demographic compared to a younger user. Younger users have the tendency to just scroll through content a mile a minute. And it's very tough to stop them from scrolling and get them to take the action you want them to take. However, the older demographic has a much different behavior. they have that tendency of stopping on each piece of content as they scroll through their feed, consume it, and then make that decision as to whether or not they want to click through or take that action that a marketer wants them to take. This is why I think Facebook is very successful in terms of generating leads. It's because the people, especially in a lot of B2Bs, in that age bracket of 45 plus, it's a very good platform if that's your target audience, because they're consuming the content. So if you get the right message in front of the right user, there's a good chance they're going to take that action you want them to take. Now, there's a very big difference between Facebook advertising and the likes of Google advertising. And the big thing there is intent. On Google, there's very high intent because you have a user that's Googling a solution to a problem that they have, and they're looking for those links to find that solution. Whereas on Facebook, it's very different. There is absolutely no intent behind a Facebook user unless you're retargeting, okay? But in most cases, you need to create that intent. You need to, put something out there that's going to capture their attention, and maybe something that's a little thought-provoking, or at least plant a seed for inevitably them becoming maybe a customer or client of yours. So you need to create that intent. And a lot of that has to do with the educational piece of what you need to provide those users on Facebook. Now, the recipe for success. What is the most important asset you have for increasing your sales? Give that a thought for a second, okay? What's the most important asset you have right now for increasing your sales? It's your email list. Okay, that email list you own. Nobody's ever going to take that email list from you. You're going to own it. You're always going to have it. Facebook could shut down tomorrow. Instagram could be gone overnight, and you can lose your follower base, and there's not a thing you can do about it. We've seen it happen many times before where people get their ad accounts shut down on Facebook. They get their personal accounts banned on Facebook or suspended on Facebook for no reason in a lot of cases, and there's little you can do about it. Okay, so make sure you take this opportunity as a way to use social media to get users off of social media and over to your email list. Okay, so the recipe for success that we're going to talk about today that's worked for us as well as our clients is using Facebook to get them off of Facebook or Instagram and get them over to email, where people are focused and they're attentive. Okay, they got that one email that they're in, and usually the state of mind when they're on email is typically work related as well. So for B2B businesses, this is a perfect opportunity to capture their intention. And I'm not talking about cold email today. I'm talking about warm email. Okay, so first things first, we like to call this like the bait. How are we going to capture their attention? Right? What are you throwing out there? What are you casting out there to capture those leads? And a lead magnet is the best way to do that. At least in our experience, this is the best way we've seen that it's worked in terms of generating that low-cost lead off of Facebook and Instagram. So for those that don't know what a lead magnet is, it's an incentive used to offer a potential buyer in exchange for their email address or other contact information. Great examples of this that we've deployed in the past have been checklists, PDF downloads, market reports, ebooks, white papers, videos. All these are lead magnets. Now, the one that has for us has generated the most success for our clients in the strategy that we're going to talk about today is that PDF download or that white paper. Okay, I'm going to give you some examples of white papers that we've deployed for B2B businesses that have worked successfully. Okay, now one of the keys here when we're talking about targets is, a lot of people talk about, that target that you need to go after, or like the specific audience or avatar that you need to go after, because there are several options for creating those audiences on Facebook. But really, we like to kind of reverse engineer that and think about the actual lead magnet and the bait that you're putting out there to attract that lead. So if there's a massive audience of people that you're targeting, you got to think that only people interested in that specific topic are going to download that lead magnet. For example, right here, the target here is financial advisors. Well, if you're not a financial advisor, why are you going to download 5 easy ways that financial advisors can increase revenue? So that's okay, because the beauty thing about this is over time, as Facebook understands your audience, they'll put your ad in front of users that have that tendency to convert. So you don't even really have to choose an audience. You can have an open audience or a massive audience. Facebook's over time, when they go through their learning phase, they're going to figure out the right user to put your ad in front of. Okay, so here's a great example of one here. Obviously, this is much longer than 3 pages. we typically say, have a lead magnet that's about 6 to 8 pages if you're doing a downloadable white paper. What doesn't work is like the 30-page ebook. Okay, people on social, especially Facebook, Instagram, they're not looking to take time out of their calendar. They're not looking to spend an hour consuming a 30-page ebook. They want something that's snackable, that's quick to consume, and easy. And so things that we've seen work are, 5 tips, a checklist, things like that are great because it's easy content that people can consume in maybe about 2 minutes. Okay. Now, another example. Here's a target. This is targeting restaurant owners, okay? How restaurants and bar owners can save money in 2022. So this specific client is targeting restaurant owners in the New York area for furniture. It's a very, very niche audience, but we're not targeting it so niche to just restaurant owners because you got to keep in mind as well, not everybody out there is going to be public with their occupation or with the work they do. So, sometimes when you say, I only want to target restaurant owners, well, what about all those restaurant owners that you cannot get in front of on Facebook because they didn't list themselves as restaurant owners, which is another reason to have that audience as large as possible. Somebody might be the general manager at a restaurant, not the restaurant owner, and they're the decision maker on furniture within the restaurant. So you need to make sure you make that pool of people as wide net as possible. Okay. Another one, target owners of large companies, 100 plus employees. 3 essential checklists for workplace safety. Okay, and this is a very niche audience, and typically this specific audience would probably not be in the mindset of potentially thinking business as they're going through Facebook, or especially 3 essential checklists for workplace safety. So in this case here, we also tested the same lead magnet on LinkedIn. Now the lead cost for this specific lead magnet was significantly cheaper on Facebook and Instagram because the sheer volume of people. Okay, LinkedIn lead generation on LinkedIn can get very expensive. However, when things are more expensive, typically you're getting better quality. This is true. But depending on the budget that you have to deploy to your campaign, Facebook and Instagram is a great place to grab that information, because remember, we're not closing them on the platform, we're collecting their information. And this is why I like to prefer to use Facebook and Instagram for that lower cost lead. Okay. And then lastly, we have target real estate agents. This one specifically, how to build your legacy one house at a time. This is a company that specifically targets real estate agents to write a book, to become an author in a book. So it's a bigger audience. They're targeting real estate agents throughout the US. So in this case here, the lead cost is very low. Okay, because the bigger the audience, the lower the lead cost every single time. If this specific campaign was targeting, for example, New York State only, that lead cost is going to be higher. So the bigger pool of people, the lower the lead cost you're going to get. And we're always trying to accomplish that with these lead magnets, because we just want to get them over to that email list, because we're going to talk about that a little later. We're not going to go too in depth today on nurture sequences, but I do want to touch on it. Now, when you go to create that campaign, first thing you're going to want to do is do lead generation. Now, a lot of people like to grab traffic off of Facebook and send them over to an external landing page. That's cool. A lot of times you're going to be paying more per lead because you're creating that extra step for them to leave their Facebook experience or their Instagram experience to go over to a website. Now, there's a couple reasons why this is more expensive. Well, A, the additional step for that user to go over to your landing page and manually fill in their information. And then 2, Facebook would rather prefer you keep somebody on Facebook than send them off of Facebook. So you'll keep your costs down by choosing the lead generation objective instead of the traffic objective, which is what you would do if you're going to send traffic to a landing page, or the conversions objective. Okay, so we're talking about lead generation today. Now, targeting. Now, when you go to create those audiences, like I said, you're creating a large audience, okay? But there are a few custom audiences on Facebook that you will want to create, okay? And firstly, website visitors, okay? So I'm sure a lot of you probably know what a Facebook pixel is. This is the very first thing we check before we start a campaign, is ensuring that there is a Facebook pixel that is on the website. Because if there is no Facebook pixel on the website, then we cannot retarget people spending time consuming all that information on your website. So we're going to tell Facebook, hey, let's create a custom audience of those people that are website visitors. And then from there, that would be one custom audience. And then we have your customer list. If you have a customer list over 100, that's over 100 people, that's a great list. Create a custom audience of that list. And then you're going to create also, if you have video content, this is a great opportunity to capture people that watch a percentage of video content on your Facebook page, because then you can create a custom audience of those people, along with the lead form, anybody engaging on the lead form or filling in the information on a lead form. Once you have all of these custom audiences, then you're going to want to create what's called lookalike audiences. So you're going to go out there and tell Facebook to go scan those 2.5, 2.6 billion profiles to try to find those users that look most similar to those people spending time on your website, to those people that are on your customer list, to those people watching video content, or to those people that are becoming leads through the lead form. So Facebook's going to get a really good idea as to what those leads look like. And then Facebook's going to do their thing in the algorithm in terms of getting your content, your lead magnet in front of the people that matter most. Now, we'll dive into it now. This is the icebreaker strategy that we've deployed for our clients, and we've probably done about, must be close to 100 of these now. So we've got a really good sample size. And for those out there that are watching, I'll be doing a follow-up webinar to this in August, where we're going to talk about the lead magnets that have worked best. But today we're just going to go very high level and break down the strategy that we deploy. Okay. First step is ad testing. Okay. We're going to be using a plethora of creative, of copy, as well as headlines. And what we're doing is we're creating what's called dynamic ads. So what Facebook's going to do is they're going to test up all of these copies and headlines and creatives, be it videos, as well as it's going to be video, as well as images. And Facebook's going to mesh them all together to try to find the perfect combination. You'll see during this learning phase with Facebook, which typically lasts about 3 days, there's going to be a winner that emerges. Okay. Great example of this is a campaign that we're running for ourselves right now. We're spending about $100 a day and got 10 different creatives, 10 different copy, 10 different headlines, but there's one that's generating 90% of the leads, one video that's generating 90% of the leads, which is important because once you figure out what that creative is that's working best, along with the best headline and best copy, you're going to want to grab that converting ad and put most of your budget into that converting ad that you know that works. Okay, that's what we're trying to do throughout this entire process, is trying to find what works and double down on our efforts. Okay, so once you have that, and keep in mind, the converting ad that's generating that low-cost lead, you're not going to want it to be clickbaity at all. Okay, you want to make sure it's very clear and you're open with who you're targeting with that ad, and they're on that very seamless journey to that lead magnet that you're creating. Okay, you don't just want to say, hey, here's 5 ways to save money. Click here to learn more. And then they get to the lead magnet and it's about, 5 strategies for saving money, financial planning or financial wealth. There's kind of a bait and switch there. So you want to avoid any sort of bait and switch, because by doing that, you're just going to leave a negative impression of your business with the lead. Okay. Remember, we're using this, whatever that bait is that we're using to capture that lead through the lead magnet, is the journey that we're bringing them on when we bring them through that nurture sequence. Okay. Now, step 2, contact info. So remember, as I said, you want to make this as frictionless as possible. So what's happening is Facebook, they're going to opt in through that call to action button, and immediately it's going to open up a contact form within Facebook. And in most cases, this information that you're asking for is auto-populated by Facebook. So for a user, it's as simple as going click, click to get the information that they're looking for. Like I said, sending that traffic off of Facebook to a landing page requires an extra step for that user. We're trying to avoid that. We're trying to generate the lowest cost lead as possible off of Facebook and Instagram. And this is the way to do it. Now, then you're going to set up your email automation. We use MailChimp. We love MailChimp. The designs in MailChimp look great. And it's very easy to create those templates, and as well as those automation sequences. So you're going to want to set up that automation where they are receiving that lead magnet immediately when they opt in. You don't want to sit there and have these leads go on a list, and then at 5 p.m. every night, you got to go there and manually send all your emails. Don't do that. You're going to want to set this up automatically through MailChimp, and also Zapier. Zapier is a great platform that we use for all of our automation. Now, step 4, that lead magnet download. This is where they're going to download that information that they opted into, which is important, okay? Because a lot of people, surprisingly, you'll get people that opt in, but they never open up that email. It sits there in the bottom of their inbox as like a to-do reminder. I do this myself. I have so many unread messages in my inbox, and they're all things that I've downloaded or opted into that I'm going to get to at some point. But a lot of them, they just sit there in like the email graveyard of emails that are never opened. So you need to make sure that when you create those email nurture sequences in MailChimp, that you're segmenting those leads. The leads that are opening up the lead magnet go down one journey. The leads that do not open up the lead magnet need to be prompted with another email to remind them to open up that lead magnet. Very important, because as a lead goes through the nurture sequence, email 2, 3, 4, and 5 are going to make 0 sense if they don't open up if they don't open up email 1, which is the lead magnet. Okay. Now, conversion tracking. There are several ways to do conversion tracking. We always like to use Google Sheets as a fallback, but most clients have some sort of a CRM where we're zapping the leads into. Okay, but always using that fallback on Google Sheets is important, because sometimes Zapier goes down. Sometimes there's problems with CRMs. So it's good to have that fallback, because in a lot of cases, depending on your business, you want to make sure that you're going through that sequence, but it's a speed to lead thing as well. Your sequence could be 5 emails, 7 emails. It could be 2 emails. Okay, you need to make sure that leads are being followed up with promptly. Okay, and once a lead goes through their journey, we typically recommend, a follow-up call of sorts. Because remember, through the strategy that we're talking about today, the leads are not hot, right? We're grabbing a cold lead from social media with 0 intent, and we're educating them and moving them to the point where they are now, you're the known, like, and trusted source through the value that you're able to provide through this nurture sequence. Okay. Be cognizant of this, the awareness level of that lead when they receive that lead magnet. So in most cases, when they see that ad, they're unaware. Okay, they're going to be unaware of most ads that they see on Facebook and Instagram. You need to make them problem aware. So the lead magnet is essentially making them problem aware. You're hitting that pain point of your client, of your audience, and addressing it in that lead magnet. Now, once they open up that lead magnet, they're now suddenly solution aware, because you're going to have, 5 tips to do A, B, and C, or, the how-to checklist for whatever your business is in. And then at the bottom of that lead magnet, it's going to be branded, obviously. It's going to be branded with your branding, and it's going to have some information about the services and the solution that you provide. So now we're making them solution aware. Now, through that, they're going to become product aware, because they're going to learn about potentially the package that you have to offer or the service that you have to offer specifically to that service. And then most aware. Most aware is when they're going to know exactly you're the go-to person. They're going to understand success stories. They're going to understand the journeys that your clients have been through. This is all done through the nurture sequence that would be created. That's creating that lead in a position where they are the most aware that you are the go-to and there's no other option out there for them. This is a simple lead conversion that we're talking today. It goes straight from informative content through that ad to the lead magnet itself, then moving them over to that nurture sequence. And then you want to close them through that nurture sequence or that follow-up. It could be an appointment setter, or it could be a follow-up call that you or a representative for your business provides to that lead. Because when you have that call with that lead, after they've been through that nurture sequence, they're now familiar with who you are. It's not a cold call anymore. It's a warm call. And it's a good opportunity to have a conversation, not necessarily sell them, but just have a conversation and understand more about their pain points and needs. Now, the nurture wheel, this is very high level description of how that nurture wheel could potentially work. It's getting them into your funnel and then having other lead magnets along the journey as well, which is important, right? More value, value, value. And then to the point at the end of the nurture where maybe you provide them with that missing piece of their puzzle or that offer, which really works well around email 6 or 7 of that sequence. Now, thank you all for joining me today, guys. I'm going to be opening up questions shortly. David, are you on the call today? If David is here, I'd like to introduce David if he's up for it. If not, that's okay. All right, no worries. Okay, free discovery call, guys. If you guys are interested in how we can deploy this for your business, just go ahead and scan that. You can follow me as well on Instagram. It's my platform of choice, and you can hit me up in my DMs on Instagram. But that'll be a free discovery call. We can understand how this concept or how this strategy can work specifically for your business. And if nothing else, you probably get some good ideas for lead magnets. Okay, so book that discovery call if you're interested. Now,
sorry, Jason, I just appeared, but
awesome. Yeah, David, I wanted to hand the conch over to you here to explain the marketing trust, because before you guys go anywhere, I want you guys to have an understanding as to what this is and this specific workshop that you showed up for today. And there are a lot of workshops that are going to be following this one that are similar, but in different areas of marketing. And some of these other areas may be even more relevant for your business as well if Facebook ads is not the platform for you. So I'll let David take it away and explain the marketing trust and how it works. And hopefully we'll see some of you guys at upcoming workshops.
So great. Thanks, Jason. So that was great. So the marketing trust is a group of marketing agencies. Jason's amongst them. And we have, there's, I think, 7 of us all together. Now I'll show you who they are. And we have different areas of specialization. There's some crossover. Okay. Collectively, we've worked with over 3,000 B2B and B2C clients over 24 years. I mean, I don't think your agency's been around quite as long as ours, Jason. You're a little younger than I am, but amongst the group, there's many, many, many years of experience, and we've had, some high-end clients. Most of our clients historically are small, medium-sized companies, pretty much across all industry sectors, right? So if you can just jump to the next slide there, Jason. So the idea of this, though, is it's a collaborative, evidence-based approach to marketing. Individually, we all think we're pretty smart as marketing agency owners. However, we're a lot smarter if we pool our knowledge. Okay, and that's really the idea of the marketing trust. So we tend to work collaboratively with clients. So I'm just going to give you an example. Jason and I and Ellen Coronet, Ellen is an expert in quizzes. Jason is an expert in the stuff that he's been talking about here today. And Kevin Petty and I are experts in different areas of marketing. So we actually have a couple of clients together where we have put together what we call a marketing and sales operating system that takes the right components for that particular client to get the right results, and we pool our knowledge. Okay, so that at the heart of it is what the marketing trust is all about. And what we do is we have these, what we call them, deep dive workshops, which we all hold, and that gives everybody that's one of our clients or one of our prospects or so on an opportunity to attend, these specialized types of workshops. So thanks very much. That's my introduction to the marketing trust, Jason.
Awesome. Perfect. And so if there's anything else to add there, do you want to touch on any of this? So specifically, I know we have a couple workshops coming up, David. That
we have one tomorrow.
Which one's that?
On PPC.
Okay, cool.
Eric Schmidt. So if anybody hasn't been invited to that, you probably wouldn't be, because we've probably segmented. If you would like to be invited to the PPC workshop tomorrow, just drop that into the chat and we'll get you invited. We have a whole series of workshops coming up over the next couple of months, and we'll make sure you get invited to those as well. Perfect. Now, very quickly, one of the most useful strategies that we've come up with to help ourselves as a group, as the marketing trust, is everybody's familiar with the term joint venture marketing, right? And so what we do is we not only pool our knowledge, but we pool our marketing lists. Okay. And so, for example, today I invited several hundred of my prospects that are connected to me on LinkedIn to Jason's workshop. Okay. Somebody else in our group will be inviting a group of their connections to somebody else's workshop in the group. So this has turned into an extraordinarily good idea where we've figured out how we can utilize LinkedIn and how we can pool our connections. So what we're doing is anybody that's interested in how can you collaborate with other businesses that are selling to the same type of people you are, okay, in a joint venture marketing scenario, and it can be done through your LinkedIn connections, or it can be done through your opt-in email lists. Let us know, and we're going to be having an upcoming, workshop on that, right? And we'll show you how that works, basically. So what it really allows you to do, if you think of being able to twofold, threefold, or tenfold the number of qualified prospects that are going to be coming to your events, okay? So imagine that you want to hold an event like Jason is holding here, but it's for your product or service, demonstrating your expertise. What the joint venture marketing group allows you to do is we'll make sure that you have a lot more people to invite, okay? And that's essentially the concept of it. So I'll leave it there. Thanks very much.
And we have a question, Mike.
Yeah, hi. First off, it's very refreshing to have somebody go through an entire presentation and not have a bunch of friggin' notes in front of them. Thank you. There's no question in my mind, but that the approach that you described is really great in the targeting area and in being able to get to these people, and your custom lists. How has the experience been in terms of the reception? How have relatively higher level people in B2B, and I'm focused mainly on Fortune 1000. So, but how have higher level executives received and acted by receiving something through a Facebook interface?
Yeah, it's funny because I think a lot of people, when they receive or opt in to a lead magnet through Facebook, what happens is a lot of times they go through this nurture sequence and they don't even realize when they opted in or how they opted in. I think the point of opt-in is not as important as the method of them getting in. Like I said, we talk about Facebook and Instagram because the sheer volume of people on those platforms is massive, and the cost of acquisition or cost of lead is low. But this, really, we're just talking about, we could be talking about TikTok, we could be talking about LinkedIn, we could be talking about trade show marketing and having a QR code and getting people to opt in that way. But it's just trying to really, the focal point of the presentation is really about the bait that you're putting out there to get them in. Because if you were to take the approach, Mike, and said, here's book me for a 15-minute consultation, I think that's going to do terrible. It's going to be terrible because you're going to have people on Facebook are not trying to take time into their calendar. And I've noticed a lot of times, a lot of people on Facebook, they're mostly looking for freebies or some sort of an offer of sorts. So a free 15-minute call, sure, I'll take that. It's not going to breed a very great lead. What's going to breed a great lead is that nurture sequence that you bring them down to position you as that known, like, and trusted source in your industry. That's the key. So this bait is really just addressing a pain point that your target audience has. And if you know you're attracting people off of Facebook through this bait, and you're going to lead them down the proper journey to client, that's what you need to think about, right? So don't just go for the kill on Facebook, really go for that, that pain point that they have and plant the seed. That's essentially what you're doing.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Asking for somebody's time versus saying, do you want something in return for giving me your email is a lot easier for them. I guess what I'm wondering is, if they get something from Facebook, do they look at it differently than they do if they get it from LinkedIn, which is more B2B, I guess is the right way to put it.
Yeah, great question. It's a good question because does it matter the platform where they opt in from, right? And I would say on LinkedIn, people's state of mind are typically, work. They're usually at work. You don't see too many people or too many users on LinkedIn on weekends. Try advertising on LinkedIn on weekends and watch your cost per lead skyrocket. because there's just nobody on the platforms on Saturday and Sunday. So if you are going to run LinkedIn ads, shut them off on Friday. So, but does it matter? I think for most cases, this is the thing you need to think about, right? When you optimize for lead generation on Facebook, Facebook puts your ads in front of people that have a tendency to become a lead on Facebook. Okay. There's a lot of people out there that people have different behaviors. Some people like to click on websites. Some people like to like, share, and comment on content. Some people like to become leads on Facebook. So you're putting your ad in front of those people that have that tendency. So there's a good chance if you're doing lead generation, you're not the first thing they've opted in for. They've opted in for other things in the past. Whether or not, they convert, it really depends, I think, on the journey that you bring them through post opt-in, right? I think that's the key. So, and that's the whole point here, is just to get as many leads as possible at the lowest cost, because the amount of leads that are in that nurture sequence is, if you close 2%, well, you do the math. I don't know what the cost of acquisition is for you, but you just really want high volume going through your nurture sequence. Awesome. Thanks, Mike. Great question. Anybody else have any questions about the journey for your user, lead magnets, building out that campaign on Facebook ads, or even about the marketing trust that David was mentioning? If not, no worries. You guys have my contact information. If not, I am going to drop it right here, my email, into the chat if you want to check it out there, along with my Instagram. If you're on Instagram, definitely go on over there and give me a follow. I'm always posting content about my podcast. I have a podcast as well. So going over and give me a follow there, that would be amazing. If there's nothing else, guys, I thank you all for your time, and hopefully we'll be seeing you at an upcoming Marketing Trust workshop.
Thanks a lot.